Hi guys, this is gsmnow.com and I'm here with the iPhone SE 2020 or the iPhone SE2 as some people are calling it, or finally the new iPhone SE. So Apple is into affordable phones yet again, and it's a smaller one. It's basically the iPhone 8 with a new processor. That's the core of it. It's $399 and we're here for the unboxing. The review will come later on, but as the owner of the iPhone 7, I'm very familiar with the format. Now, we're lucky enough to have the product red version of the phone. It's also available in black and white. We have also already performed the setup, so you won't be bored by a large part of this video. Okay, so my first impression is that we're dealing with a very small phone. I'm coming from handsets which have 6.5 inch diagonal, 6.7 inch, Galaxy S20 Ultra even 6.9 inch, so this one feels like a tiny little phone with huge bezels. Okay, as I said before, I've already set it up, so let's fire up the device. Okay, now we're back to the unboxing itself, and we have here the envelope with the product red feature, a bunch of useful information, and the metal key used to access the slot, and as usual stickers. Aside from that, we get the typical 5-watt charger, which I also got with my iPhone 7 if I remember correctly, with an USB-A connector, a pair of earpods which have themselves a remote control and their own lightning connector. Keep in mind, the device does not have an audio jack. And finally, the cable, which goes from Lightning to USB-A. Okay, so that's the gist of it. That's available inside the box. I would say there's nothing unexpected here. We would have liked a faster charger, but then again, it's an affordable iPhone and Apple cut corners for that. Although the phone itself supports 18-watt charging. Now, the actual device. I have to admit that nowadays, these bezels, top and bottom, seem to be huge. And the screen seems to be borrowed from the iPhone 8. We're dealing here with a display, which is an IPS LCD, 4.7 inch, which is rather small nowadays, resolution of 1334 over 750 pixels. It's between HD and Full HD, but closer to HD. Other than that, we're dealing with a glass and metal phone. There's glass at the front, there's glass at the back, and there's an aluminum frame in between. The thickness is 7.3 millimeters and the weight is 148 grams, which by the way are the exact same measurements which we got on the iPhone 8. We also have IP67 dust and water resilience certification, and aside from that, there's no 3D touch here. So instead of the 3D touch, you have the whole Taptic engine thing. So if you're going to be pressing something a bit harder, you're going to be triggering some of the options. Okay, continue, and something like this. Press it a bit harder and you activate those options. Anyway, back to the specs. As I was mentioning before, the CPU is pretty new. It's the Apple A13, which we saw on the iPhone 11 lineup. So that's not bad. Okay, let's access our website, gsmnow.com. Having been using an iPhone 7 for years now, I'm familiar with the format, but my hands have been spoiled by the iPhone 11 Pro, which I've been using for about 4-5 months now. Now, aside from the Apple A13 CPU, which by the way has been underclocked, keep that in mind, it's been underclocked for a lower frequency, we get 3 gigs of RAM and also 64, 128 or 256 gigabytes of storage. There are stereo speakers here. There's one at the bottom and there should also be the one at the top here for the conversation. And aside from that, we have the lightning port between the two grills, and well, there's no audio jack. The battery is an interesting case here. It could sound very small for nowadays. It's an 1821 mAh unit, so as one may call it, 1821 milliamperes, which feels a bit underwhelming. At least we get wireless charging via the glass back. By the way, my iPhone 7 had the 1960 mAh battery, so a bigger one compared to this model. Now, aside from that, let's talk about the cameras for a bit. Here at the top side, right next to the earpiece, there's a 7 megapixel shooter for the selfies, and at the back side, I have a singular camera. It's a 12 megapixel shooter, this one here with f1.8 aperture, quad LED flash, optical image stabilization. It also has 4K 60 frames per second video capture, and the camera interface is very familiar if you've seen an iPhone before, but we do have portrait, which is odd for a single camera phone. It uses some software tricks to properly simulate the depth of field because we do not have a singular camera, a secondary camera for that. Okay, so that's about it hardware wise. Of course, we also have a home button, which I haven't seen in a while on a phone. It integrates the Touch ID fingerprint scanner used to unlock the phone, and I would say it does a pretty fine job, as you can see here for yourself. Aside from that, there's 4G LTE, of course, there's Wi-Fi A, B, G, N, AC, Bluetooth 5.0, there's GPS and NFC for your Apple Pay needs. Now the video capture will happen with stereo audio capture, so that's nice. We also have the True Tone thing, and the experience is revolving around iOS 13, and here we have the notification center, and here we have the control center. You should be familiar with them from the past years. This is where you play with your widgets, and you also have Siri in the latest version. Okay, so that's about it. My first impression: if you've used the iPhone 8, you know exactly what to expect. Once again, the iPhone SE 2020 has the same screen as the iPhone 8, pretty much a similar battery, but a new CPU. And of course, the same body, same thickness, and also the same weight. We'll be back with a full review very soon. I'm afraid regarding the battery, I've heard bad things about it, but I will not judge it until I see it for myself. This has been the unboxing of the iPhone SE 2020 from gsnom.com. Bye bye.